All right, it is 11. Let us go ahead and start. So, welcome to our webinar on maximizing your Social Security benefit. So, here we go. To qualify for Social Security benefits, you're going to need 40 quarters of earnings, and that's subject to the Social Security payroll taxes. The good news is those quarters don't need to be consecutive. So, you can work for a period, take some time off, and work for another period. The benefit is going to be calculated on the average of the 35 highest earning years. It's important to note that Social Security is going to provide a guaranteed income stream that doesn't fluctuate with the market. So it's going to potentially increase with cost of living adjustments that the government will determine. Social Security is funded through a few different sources. The main source is going to be payroll taxes, and it comes from a trust. The trust is, without getting too far into the weeds, managed by the government, and they invest it in government-backed securities. So it's funded through three sources: payroll taxes, income taxes on the benefits paid, and then interest from the investments that the government is investing them in. So benefits are first paid for with money coming into the trust. And the money coming in accounts for about 70 to 80% of the total benefits paid. And we can see here that it's expected by 2035, payroll taxes are going to cover about 80% of the benefits owed. So this is where some folks have concerns about the solvency and the future of Social Security. It's very unlikely that Social Security is going to fail and go away. It's much more likely that changes are going to be made just like they have in the past. Some of these changes are probably going to include increasing full retirement age for people going forward, modifying the benefit formula, which would probably reduce benefit amounts for people in the future who haven't claimed yet, as well as increasing payroll taxes, so increasing that money coming in that's initially being paid. I want to cover a couple of terms here. So full retirement age, or FRA, is something you're going to hear us mention quite a few times in this webinar. And so this is the age at which you can receive your full Social Security benefit. And it's going to change depending on when you were born. And you can see here, if you were born after 1960, full retirement age is 67, but it could be as early as 66. It depends on when you were born. PIA, or primary insurance amount, is essentially going to be the benefit you receive at your full retirement age. And this is the equation to calculate that simplified. So it's calculated based on your earnings history, the years you've worked, and your age. It also uses another term called average indexed monthly earnings, but you can get pretty far into the weeds there. So essentially, it's just based on what you made, how long you've worked, and when you claim it. We wanted to illustrate here that people are living significantly longer now than when they first implemented Social Security. more than 20 years on average. We can see when it was implemented in 1960, the average expectancy for a guy was 66 years. Now the average expectancy is 84 years. So if you remember on the previous slide, 66 was about the age you could claim full retirement. So it was essentially something you would claim towards the end of your life. And so people weren't really sustaining themselves on Social Security very much. That has changed with the advancement of society and technology and healthcare. People are living longer, so they're drawing on Social Security longer. This really highlights the importance of planning for a longer life to make sure you have the money coming in. You don't want to end up working when you're 85 years old. That's no fun. So this slide shows us the most common ages people are going to be claiming their benefits. Most are waiting until full age. However, very few have waited until the maximum age. So they get an additional benefit if they wait until 70. We can see here that you get up to 8% yearly increase past your full retirement age up until 70. So if your full retirement age is 67, waiting until 70 could get you an extra 24%, which can be pretty significant in the long term. And some of the reason people aren't waiting until that age is, one, they can't. Two, they just haven't planned to. And three, they don't know how else to pay for retirement without Social Security. So that's why planning is also important. So this is our first strategy, which is the power of waiting. So the easiest thing you can do to increase your Social Security benefit is just wait. We see here that if you claim, this is an example benefit. If you claim it at 62, the earliest age, you're only going to get $1,200 a month. But simply waiting 5 years full retirement age could get you an extra $560 per month for life. And if you wait an additional 8 years, so until you're 70, you get that increase, you're going to get over $1,000 more per month for life, which is significant. That's $12,000 a year extra income. And this is guaranteed income that's not going anywhere once you start claiming it. So first strategy is waiting. There is an impact to working after claiming. So if you claim before full retirement age and you're still working, you can make up to $22,320 before they start withholding your Social Security. So we can see here that for every $2 over that limit that you earn, they are going to withhold $1. If you wait until full retirement age, they increase the limit to almost $60,000, and they change what they're going to withhold. So you can make an extra $3 over the limit for them to withhold $1. So it's 50% more that you can make without them reducing what you're getting. And if you just wait until after your full retirement age, there are no limits and there is no reduction. Now, spousal benefits. They can be as much as 50% of a worker's PIA if you claim it at full retirement age. This is another strategy to consider for people who one spouse works and one spouse stayed at home, or maybe one spouse doesn't have a benefit because they don't have big enough history to have it calculated. It's important to consider the timing of claiming for both spouses, especially if you're going to be using the spousal benefit. As we can see here, if you claim it early, it significantly reduces what you're going to get and what your spouse is going to be able to get. So here are some strategies kind of condensed. So for couples, it's good to evaluate the options you have and pick the best path forward, because it can make sense to claim the lesser benefit early and allow the greater benefit to grow. And there are some survivor implications there, but that is a strategy. Another strategy is coordinating your benefits if someone needs to claim a spousal or survivor benefit. And then another strategy is you can even look at claiming an ex-spouse's benefit. You can get a portion of a former spouse's benefit if you meet certain requirements without impacting that spouse's benefit to themselves. So this kind of illustrates the benefit of spousal delay strategies. So we have our two spouses, A and B. A is expected to live until 85, and spouse B is expected to live 10 years longer, until 95. Spouse B is going to be claiming that spousal benefit that we looked at earlier. Spouse A's full retirement benefit is $1,760. So if they claim early, the lifetime benefit they're going to receive for both spouse A and spouse B cumulatively is only $568,000, almost $569,000. However, if they're able to wait until full retirement age, you're going to get an extra $100,000 over their lifetime. And if they wait until 70, it's almost $200,000 over their lifetime. And this is because of that 8% yearly increase up to year 70. It has a significant impact, especially on longer lived individuals. So there are some rules with survivor benefits and divorce benefits, and we'll talk about those here. So you had to have been married for a minimum of 9 months, and you had to have been married to an ex-spouse for 10 years minimum and not remarried before 60. So those are two separate requirements. So for a survivor benefit, if your spouse passed, you had to have been married for a minimum of 9 months. If your spouse and you are divorced, you had to have been married to them for 10 years minimum and not remarried before 60. If you have multiple benefits, you get the highest of them. And this is an important strategy. If you have your own benefit and a survivor benefit, you can claim one early without impacting the other. So this is another strategy to look at. If you can get two benefits here in this situation, you claim the one that's lower first and allow the one that will be higher to grow until it hits the maximum, and then you swap over, and there's no negative impact to doing that. It's a very important strategy that a lot of people don't know about or overlook. So here are some divorce spousal benefit rules. So for spousal rules, had to have been married for 10 years, had to have been divorced for 2 years, and your ex is not remarried. Survivor rules say the ex-spouse had to have been entitled to their Social Security benefits at the time of passing, married for at least 10 years, and they did not remarry before 60. Those are the requirements to use the divorce spousal benefit strategy. So budgeting is also a very, very important aspect of this. And so we just created a simple flow chart here. So you have fixed income and essential expenses. These are things that are like it says fixed. They're not going to change. They are required to survive on the expense side, and they're always going to come in on the income side. You should try to match your essential expenses with your fixed income. So fixed income, like pension, Social Security, and annuities, should only go towards those essential expenses, those things you need to survive first. If you have extra fixed income after your essentials are paid for, then you can definitely use those on discretionary things. If you have gaps between your fixed income and your essential expenses, which means your expenses are higher than what you have coming in on the fixed side, you should use your variable income. So this is retirement accounts, other investment accounts, employment income. Use that to fill in those gaps first. That way your essentials are paid for, and then you can start doing the fun stuff. We also have kind of an illustration here. I'm not the best artist, but I gave it a whirl. We call this the income tightrope. So this illustrates one point is the beginning of retirement, the other point is the end of retirement. And the height is determined by your expenses. So you can reduce the height by reducing your expenses. But you still have some distance that you could potentially fall, which would, be equivalent to running out of money in retirement or not having enough to pay for your expenses and having to go back to work or really adjust your lifestyle, which isn't so fun to do in retirement. So some things we like to do is you add those guaranteed income, the stable income, essentially is like adding layers of sand in there. So Social Security will have some. If you have a pension, that will add some more sand. And then if you have some annuities, that'll add some more sand. So then what you're solving for, that gap there in red we see is much smaller because you've got guaranteed income coming in. So there's less things you have to solve for. There's a couple things you can do. If you've already started claiming Social Security pensions and annuities, there's not too much you can do to change those. So then you have to figure out how to add sand or other income sources, which would be the variable income we talked about on the slide before, like retirement accounts, investment accounts, working, or other passive income. If you haven't claimed yet, you can strategize to increase those guaranteed income levels of sand. So there are things you can do, which we've been talking about, to increase that Social Security benefit so that it's a bigger portion and you have to solve for less. You can also do that with pensions, and you can implement annuities to do a similar thing. So we just like to use this to show people kind of the importance of planning, because you don't want to end up falling and then be made to figure out how to live on less money. So some next steps to do this. First thing, and we can't stress the importance enough here, is making a budget. It's really, really, really important to know what you have coming in and what you have going out. You can't have an accurate financial picture without knowing those two things. You got to know what expenses you have, what's essential, what's non-essential, what's coming in that's guaranteed, and what is variable. Once you know those, you have the foundation and you can move on to the next steps. Sometimes making the budget sheet is the hardest part. So what we've done is we've created this budget sheet here, which you can find on our website, greenhillfp.com. Under resources, it's completely free. You'll download it as a PDF so you can print it and fill it out manually. We also have an Excel version. So if you want that, just reach out to us at info@greenhillfp.com and we can get that sent over to you. After you have your budget, you want to build a plan. And a plan should be unique to you because you're a unique individual. You have your own situations, your own circumstances. So there's no one size fits all plan. You can't have a cookie cutter plan. You should only have a plan that's unique to you. And we'll kind of touch on that on the next slide. So once you have that plan, what you want to do is maintain and update it because life is always changing. We're not sure what tomorrow's going to bring, and a plan is only as good as the information you have in it. So keeping it up to date is really important. Another way to look at this is if you're paying someone to build you a house, you want to have an idea of what that house is going to look like. You want to have a blueprint of what that house is going to look like. You don't want the contractor to just roll up to the land and start laying down brick, concrete, and slapping 2x4s together and just saying, well, it's going to be what it is. We're just going to do this randomly. You want them to have a plan so you can get an idea of what things are going to look like, what they're going to cost, what you're going to need, and how to plan for that. We use a system called Right Capital, which is why I've got that in here, just to illustrate building a plan and maintaining and updating it. It is a comprehensive system we use. We absolutely love it. It's got a lot of fun features with tax planning, education planning, estate planning. So if you want to meet with an advisor, which is important to do, you can build a plan on your own, but a lot of the fun services, the really impactful tools are available through advisors. We're more than happy to meet with you. We'll have our information at the end. If you have your own advisor and you're interested in a plan, talk with them about it, see if that's something they offer. They're very, very important tools. So just to capitalize on the fact that there is no right answer, throughout this presentation in this webinar, we have been kind of hinting and almost showing that the best strategy to maximizing your Social Security benefit is waiting until 70, which is that maximum age. Like I said before, there's no right answer for everybody. There's no one size fits all. This slide shows that. So we have two spouses, A and B again, but A is expected to live until 75 and B is expected to live until 80. So they have a much shorter life expectancy than our previous examples. Benefit for A is 1760. Spouse B is different. They're not claiming the spousal benefit in this situation. They're claiming their own, which is 1200. If they follow that general wait until you're 70 rule, based on their life expectancy, they're only going to get about $312,000 between the two of them for the life of their Social Security benefit. However, if they claim early, they're going to get an extra $50,000 over the lifetime of the benefit. So this is a situation in which claiming early is actually the better option than claiming late. And that has to do with their own situation, their own life expectancies. So there's a number of factors that can be weighed when determining when to claim. And a good financial plan and planner will have ways to calculate what is the best age, what is the optimal age for you to claim. And so that's something you should speak with your planner about. Again, if you don't have one and you want to talk with someone about that, we're more than happy to talk with you. Right Capital actually does allow us to illustrate the optimal age for folks. So we just want this to show that there is no right answer for everybody. Delaying isn't always the best strategy, and it depends on what your situation is. So thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time. We will have some, let's see, I think we will have a few minutes for questions and answers here. If they're specific, please go ahead and reach out to us. We'll have our contact information on the next page. I'll also provide that to you guys. Here we have the Social Security Administration's website. You can go there if you have specific questions about what your benefit will be or starting that process. They let you do that online, and you can also call and talk with them to begin that process, or if you have questions or issues. We have the local Vermont offices, so one in Burlington, Montpelier, and Rutland, where Greenhill is based, and we are hosting this webinar from. It's quite beautiful outside today, actually. So, yeah, this was our first webinar of our basic series, where we're going to be covering a bunch of different kind of general financial topics. We really want to lead with financial education. and increasing financial literacy in the communities, which is what we're all about. It's what we're doing on our social media pages on YouTube. We post videos regularly, just trying to help educate folks. Again, we're thankful that you stopped in and you listened to this webinar. If you're watching this on YouTube, we appreciate your time as well. Share this with anybody you think it might benefit. Our website is greenhillfp.com. If you have any questions for us, feel free to give us a call at 802-383-6700. And our email is info@greenhillfp.com. So let's open it up to questions, and we will see if anybody has anything for us. All right, doesn't look like there are any questions, so I will let everybody get back to their day. I really appreciate you stopping in and listening to this, and it is going to be part of a series, so we will have another one in October and November and December, and we do hope to see you then. If it doesn't fit with your schedule, it will be available on YouTube.